In the heart of the city was a kid. Eddy was his name. He went to school, played video games, and belched when he drank soda pop too fast. One day, Eddy decided to follow Jesus, and everything began to change. Late one night, in the 3C lab, Eddy put Celebrate molecules in with Connect and Contribute particles, and an amazing thing happened. Eddy discovered a new identity. As a new Christ follower, Eddy transformed into something special. A hero, Super Eddy, if you will. And while his new identity led him on many adventures and missions, he still found time to occasionally belch when drinking soda pop. Join Eddy to see what he is discovering about being a hero. You never know, you might find out that you are a hero too.
Wow! I had no idea I could do that. I mean, I know myself, and if I was alone, I can be kind of a chicken. But being with my friends and all, I see that whenever they do something bad, I can never stand up to them. But today I did it. I know I have God's power in me. Isn't that awesome? Okay, I know maybe you're not completely getting this, so let me explain. My name is Eddy, and I used to be a regular kid, but when I became a Christ follower, God gave me a new identity. He made me into a hero. That's right, God made me into a hero. Now, I have to admit, I didn't know a whole lot about being a hero and my new identity and all, but my small group leader, he's been explaining to me what it means to be a hero. You see, he told me this great story about Jonathan and the Philistines, and how heroes can rely on God's power to do all the things that God wants them to do. Okay, you're still not getting it. That's okay. You know what? I think my small group leader can explain it to you. Let me see if I can get a hold of him.
Hello?
Hey, Mr. Steve. It's me, Eddy.
Eddy! Eddy, how you doing? What can I do for you?
Well, I'm here with the kids, and I'm trying to explain to them what it means to be a hero. And I was wondering, maybe you can tell me and the kids that story that you told me last week about Jonathan and the Philistines.
I like that story, Eddy. I'd be happy to. Now, Jonathan was from Israel. In fact, Jonathan was the son of King Saul, which made Jonathan a prince, right? Well, you would think that as a prince, everyone would look to Jonathan as a leader, but they didn't. So when the Philistines threatened Israel, no one expected Jonathan to be a hero. The Philistines built an army of 3,000 chariots, 6,000 horsemen, and as many warriors as there are grains of sand along the seashore. I mean, when the men of Israel saw this huge Philistine army, they freaked out. Some of them hid in caves, they hid in holes, and others just ran away. Only 600 men remained, far too few to defeat the Philistine army, or so it might seem. But Jonathan knew that God was on their side, and they had nothing to fear. One day, he secretly left the camp with his armor-bearer and went out to face the Philistines. No one even noticed he was gone. He told his armor-bearer, "Perhaps the Lord will be with us, for nothing can hinder the Lord. He can win a battle whether he has many warriors or only a few." Jonathan knew that God could give him power to do things he couldn't do on his own. So Jonathan and his armor-bearer attacked the Philistine army, and the Philistines began to panic. Suddenly, all their warriors were terrified and began running away in different directions. They ran away so fast that the battle was practically over before the rest of the Israelite army even realized it was happening. And Jonathan and his armor-bearer defeated the Philistines all on their own. Well, not exactly on their own. I mean, Jonathan knew that he was powerless without having God behind him. He knew that God gave him the power to do whatever God wanted him to do. And in fact, Eddy, that's the same power that you have as a follower of God. You know, as a Christ follower, you're going to find yourself in situations where you're going to need the power of God. You know, for example, when you're with your friends and maybe someone's doing the wrong thing, or if you make a mistake and you don't really want to admit it because everyone will laugh at you, but you know it's the right thing to do. And Eddy, you're going to need the power of God behind you to do the right thing. You know, sometimes you'll feel small against the big challenges, but you have to remember, Eddy, that you have a great big God. I mean, God is bigger than all your challenges. And remember also, Eddie, that Jesus is always with you. And because Jesus is always with you, you have access to the power of God.
Thanks, Mr. Steve. You see, that's exactly what I was talking about. When I became a Christ follower, God gave me a new identity. He made me into a hero. And as heroes, we can rely on God's power to do all the things that He wants us to do. Now, just before I came over here, I was with my friends, and they wanted me to do something that I know I shouldn't do. We were over there behind that building, and they wanted me to throw rocks at the cars that were driving by. And I know that on my own, I would be too afraid to stand up to them. But then I remembered that as a hero, God gives me powers to do all the things that He wants me to do. So then I said a prayer and boom, I spoke up. But you know what? I know they weren't very happy with me, but I made the wise choice. Yeah, and I know that God gave me the power to do that. Here's the thing. As Christ followers, you can be heroes too. And God will give you the power to do all the things that He wants you to do. If you don't believe me, just try it. Next time you're in a difficult situation, just ask God to give you the power to do what's right. I bet He'll do the same for you that He did for me. Okay, I'm off to the 3C lab. I can't wait to learn more about what it means to be a hero. See ya, kids!